Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the SA Cricket Podcast. My name is Mpho and Tim. I've got Tim Delace here with me. First and foremost, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a wonderful time with your family. And yeah, the cricket didn't do us much favors. For those who are hoping to have a Boxing Day test to be watching, sadly, the curator in Melbourne decided to leave 2 millimeters of grass, and that changed everything. And now we don't have cricket to watch. But obviously, South Africa's Future Tours program diary also made sure that we had no test cricket to watch. And we're watching men in colored clothing. They look like they're wearing pajamas this year, Tim, in the SA20, even though we love them as much as we do. However, I hope you're enjoying the SA20, Tim, because I, for one, sure am. I like. The only problem is all these results and things that are happening from people who are in and out around the team may not actually be helping them get on that plane to India and Sri Lanka. But how are you doing? Merry Christmas, Tim.
Merry Christmas to you, mate. Yes, this is we did wanted to fit this in before we got into the SA20 chat. We wanted to fit in a look back at the year and who did what and give a few plaudits to the winners and losers of the year. But I'm good. I as usual, you know me. I've got controversial opinions. I don't think the pitch in Melbourne was as bad as people are making it out. I really don't. I think
it didn't warrant a press conference of the pitch curator.
No, it did not. It really did not.
Look,
it's a consequence of where the game is going. I won't go into, but we all know where the game is going, and we all know.
Now we're going to do that. We're going to do that in obviously probably in the first episode in the new year. We're just recapping what's happened throughout December and obviously giving you some SA20 stuff. But remember, you can follow us on SA Cricket Pod at X. Subscribe to the South African Cricket Podcast YouTube channel. Also, South African Cricket Podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You'll be hearing us there. Hi to our audio listeners there. And also, you can buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. You'll be seeing a QR code on your screens. That's going to help you help us buy us some coffee. And it'll be moved to the left-hand side of your screen on YouTube. And then also on YouTube, there's also one on the bottom right where you can use your phone and you can go directly there. If not, you can go to buymeacoffee.com. It's really helped us have a very great 2025. And from our side, the SA Cricket Podcast, I think we've had a stellar 2025. We've grown in the audience. Thank you very much to all of you. We are getting to parts of the world we never thought we would. And I think that's a testament to your help as well as Tim and mine's hard work over here. And we do believe we're South Africa's #1 cricket pod, and we're going to continue to be that all year long. And so, leaving anything around pitches aside, there's some news I want to do before we do that. The big news that came out yesterday was that Tabraiz Shamsi won a High Court judgment in his favor around his participation in the Big Bash as well as the ILT20. Normally what would happen, and I'm just giving you a synopsis, is that whenever a South African domestic player wants to play overseas, he needs to get a NOC, which is it's a letter. I don't know what the full name is, but you have to get a letter from CSA saying that you are allowed to go play in that tournament. And he had received clearance, no objection, effectively clearance. And he received clearance for the Big Bash, which I think his participation ended on the 19th of December. But then he was also asked to play for the Gulf Giants in the ILT20 that ends the finals on the 4th of Jan. And CSA were not willing to extend it through there. And we know Tabraiz, he was the last person to be picked in the auction, one of the last few people to be picked in the auction for R500,000. He's been picked for more money in previous auctions before in the CSA T20. And so he made a call, monetary-wise, for his family. He also decided earlier this year that he's not taking a CSA contract, so he's not a CSA contracted player. And he's also not contracted to the Titans or any domestic cricket team. So effectively, he's a South African player by name and name alone, and by the fact that he was born here and he used to play cricket here. And so it's a very interesting judgment in terms of the High Court saying that they have to extend it to the 4th of Jan, and obviously they couldn't do it, which is fair and makes sense. I just didn't understand why CSA entered the chat after the whole SA20 vibe. A lot of people were saying, why do you put yourself in the auction if you know that you're not going to get picked? In my head, I'm like, look, you put yourself in the auction to see if you're going to get cash or an amount that you're happy with. And if you're not happy with the amount, just go. And you can choose not to take it. And he didn't. He chose not to. And it gave an opportunity to younger spinners to do that. And now CSA is saying no, trying to keep him there as though. And here's the fun part for me, Tim, is that CSA is out here acting like we're going to use him at the T20 World Cup. Tabrez is not going to India and Sri Lanka. He knew that. He was told very early on when Shuki took over. So, it's another L for it. It's been a great year for CSA. Outside of the fact that we didn't have a test in December, that it's been a great year for CSA, and we'll talk about that on the awards part. But Tim, do you have any thoughts on this Tabrez Shamsi matter before we go to the awards?
Just the other point that if he had been picked by a team where he was likely to play most of the games, he may well have stayed. I do think predominantly probably was the money offer, but I do also think where he was going at my Cape Town, how many games was he going to play in that team? Not very, very many, if we're honest. I have no issue with it. My conspiracy theory is that SA20 said to Cricket South Africa, challenge it. That's my conspiracy theory.
Is it to stop other players from moving?
Yes. Yeah. I have no evidence of that, but that's just my conspiracy theory.
Oh, look, I hear you. I hear you. Makes sense. So yeah. Okay, that's enough about all the Tabrez Shamsi of the world. Tabrez, we still love you. We'd love to see you again in South African colors. Now let's move to our awards. So what we're doing this year, again, we're going to, like last year, it's a year review. So it's from Jan to December. All matches that are played in the year of our Lord 2025. Not this thing of financial year to financial year where you take series out and you put... No. This is the 2025 awards, and you're going to see and hear some incredible names coming up for awards. But anyway, we're going to start with the domestic awards, then we're going to go into the international awards. Both men and women are covered in the show, so please do buckle up. We're going to take you through. The first award goes to the CSA Pro 20 Hollywood Bets Women's Pro 20 Series. 2024-25. We didn't do this last year, so we're adding in that full year. And the nominees are, Tim, do you have some nominees for me?
I have Mignon du Preez, 217 runs at 43 with a 50. Alex Candler, 229 runs at 45 at a strike rate of 116. 350s, and Faye Tunnicliffe, 306 runs at an average of 102 at a strike rate of 150.
So you've got Mignon du Preez, Alex Candler, and
Faye
Tunnicliffe. Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay. Oh. That's a tough one. It's a tough one. No, actually, it's not. It actually isn't, and I'll tell you why. I think Alex Candler is someone who should be in the Proteas side, but the way in which Faye Tunnicliffe has done it across the both seasons, Alex's the second part of this season wasn't great, or the start of the new season this year wasn't great for her, and also her work in SA Emerging wasn't great, but that shouldn't count. I'm going with Faye. Who do you have to?
Yeah, I'm going with Faye. Look, So those stats I gave you were just for this particular season. There were a couple of games that were played this year.
Yeah.
And it is pretty much the gap widens even more in terms of phase dominance. If you add in the 2 or 3 games early on in the year. But for me, it's got to be Faye. I still think she's going to find her feet in the T20 sphere as a Proteas player. But domestically, she is streets ahead of everybody else. And this year, she's been phenomenal. Really, really phenomenal.
Yeah. So no bowlers, Tim. Because I've got some honorable mentions. Kayla Reiniger last year took 14 wickets for Western Province in the Pro 20 series. I'm having mic issues again. I feel like I'm the SA20. Mic cuts on and off. It's just weird. Anyway, Leah Jones took 14 wickets. She continued to take wickets this year. Also got a call-up. Elise Marie Marks also got a call-up for the Titans. She took 13 wickets last season. So, yeah, Kayla took at an average of 8. Leah Jones at an average of 12. And Elise Marie Marks at an average of 10. So, yeah, really, really good. And well done to everyone. But well done to Faye on winning the Pro 20 Series Player of the Year. Let's move on to the Pro 50 Series Player of the Year. Tim, where are your nominees?
My nominees are batters, I'm afraid. I think I should have had a bowler if I'm going to be honest. So it was Mignon de Preux, 225 runs at 45. With 350s. Julia Hall, 247 runs at 61, 100 and 250s. And it is Dane van Niekerk, 214 at 71 with 350s.
Ooh.
So it's Dane, Mignon, and Julia.
And I think from a winning perspective, I think for me, the number is Dane. I think Dane has, in the Pro 50, just separated leaps and bounds from everybody. That average of 71 tells you a lot. And then on top of that, obviously, we've seen what she was doing in the Proteas women's setup. So I think congratulations to her. Also, some honorable mentions from the last season. Alex Candler, 387 last year. Sinead Fillion Lowe did really well. Sinead Lees did really well. She had an average of 120 in the previous season, but we're counting, obviously, this season. And then from a bowling perspective, Khomotso Rapo with 18 wickets last season. Raisibe Ntozake from the Lions with 16 wickets at an average of 12, Raisibe. And Khomotso with an average of 18. So I like we're leaving out the bowlers, but the way in which our cricket is going in the Proteas women's setup is very batter heavy as we go through that. So that is the Women's Domestic Awards. Congratulations to Dane as well as Faye for being the Pro 20 Series winner. Now, the men's domestic. I think this year we had some 4-day games. We also had a T20 Challenge on the back end, as well as the one-day cup. Tim, who are the nominees?
For
the
which
men's
competition are we doing? Which competition are we doing?
Men's one-day cup, I think. Yeah, let's do one.
Okay.
Let's do. Actually, no. Let's do 4-day series. Then we'll do one-day cup.
Okay. 4-day competition. It's a 3-horse race, and we have got a bowler in this particular category. It's Gavin Kaplan, 676 runs at 84.
Okay.
What?
No. I knew there was going to be a Western Province / tincture. So yeah, happy with that.
9 innings. Connor Oosthuizen, 651 runs at an average of 130 in 7 innings, which is just madness. And then Matthew Boast, I think, was exceptional with the ball. Leading wicket taker, 29 wickets at 16 in 10 matches.
Okay. This one's also kind of pretty clear cut. Sorry to Gavin. Sorry to Matthew Boast.
Yeah.
Connor Esterhazen has had the 2025 that I don't think he even expected. He's been sensational. And yeah, those numbers say it all. He's been very influential to the Lions, especially in that lower middle order, because the top order, it's like that Melbourne pitch, right? The top order just, can't pick a seaming ball or with a little bit of the extra bounce here in the high felt. And then Connor was like, nah, I'm betting on a different pitch. It's what it is. So I think, I don't know, unless if you disagree with me, but the 4-day competition player of the year is Matthew Boast. Not Matthew Boast, Connor Esterhazen, sorry.
There's no question about it. It's definitely Connor. But just to quantify it, even if you include the 4-day competitions that were played this year in last season, he still averages 98. So, I mean, his stretch of form has been exceptional for the last 12 months, not just in this season. The man is in great touch, great touch, and a worthy winner.
A massively worthy winner for him. And yes, Matthew Boast taking 29 wickets is incredible. Honorable mention there also is Dane Patterson with an average of 16 and 21 wickets. Daniel Smith as well, an average of 60. He's done really well. So yeah, look, it's been a very, very good year domestically for them. Okay, now let's go to the One-Day Cup, which was played all in 2025, right, Tim? And then we'll do the T20 Challenge as well. Who are your nominees for the One-Day Cup?
So the One-Day Cup, we'll have to refresh our memories, because we haven't had a One-Day Cup for this season, which will be obviously in 2026. You'll have to take your minds back and realize just what a phenomenal season it was for these 3 players. So I'm gonna sort of mix it around so we don't just know the winner straight away. Obviously, you know me, I've got to have my Cape boy in. So Carl Simmons, 16 wickets at 15.
Okay.
Really top wicket taker, top wicket taker with in my Monarch, but I genuinely thought that Carl was just that little bit better. I think his economy was also slightly better. Devil Brevis, 398 runs at 66, and John Smuts, 473 runs at 52.
Okay.
So it's John, Devil Brevis, Carl Simmons.
Okay, so we've got John, Devil Brevis, and Carl Simmons. Honorable mentions: Deon Foster, 346 runs at an average of 69. Jordan Harman, 323, an average of 53. Bowling wise, you mentioned Imran Manak, who got 16 wickets at an average of 16. Prenel and Subrian took 15 wickets, an average of 19. Tristan Luce took 14 wickets, an average of 15, and played in less innings as everyone else. So just an honorable mention there. Next year, we most likely will be seeing Tristan Luce's name there. But between Carl Simmons, Devil Brevis, and John Smuts, the winner goes to... I think for me, it's simple. It's John Smuts, man. Even at that age, he's still doing it. Very, very influential for the Dolphins. 650s. Yes, obviously, Devil scored 103 50s at a higher strike rate and probably a higher average. I'm going with John. The runs say it all.
I'm going for Devil, but I'm only going for Devil because of the strike rate. That strike rate of 156 in the one-day competition that really shows you the impact that he had. You're right, John John had a fantastic season, and I think it could have gone either way. You'll probably find that John John picked up half a dozen wickets himself as well, which would have been a huge asset to the offense. But I just think for his impact, I'm gonna give Devolt the nudge there. But we can.
So here's a stat. John John scored 55 fours and 8 sixes. Devil Brever scored 26 fours and 31 sixes. Okay. Look, I'll stick with John John. You'll stick with Devil. Congratulations to both. It's been a really great season for them. So that's a CSA T20 CSA One Day Cup. And then this year we had the T20 Challenge that was played. We didn't have another T20 competition at the beginning of the year. So the stats for these ones are pretty much fresh. Yeah. So I'm expecting a lot of Matthew de Villiers and stuff in Tim's thing. But Tim, who are your nominees?
Yeah, so we all know that Clinton Stearman did not make my 4-day competition team of the week at all this season, I don't think.
Oh, so he finally makes it here.
So he makes it in the nominee section. Absolutely. I think without him, with the injury to Keith Dudgeon, he had to step up. He had to step up big time. I actually think Keith Dudgeon would have been the leading wicket taker. He would be, for me, an honourable mention. I think he would have been the leading wicket taker had he not got injured. But Stearman, 14 wickets at 17. He stepped up. He really was excellent. Imran Malik, 15 wickets at 13, leading wicket taker. On that ball pitch in this competition, he was phenomenal. There were plenty of games where they got themselves, when you looked, you thought they were going to lose because they hadn't got enough runs. And he got them back in the game. Plenty of games. He was exceptional. And then, of course, as you are quite right, in his first professional season in the T20 format, this is his first shot at T20 cricket in the professional setup, and he makes 394 runs at 65, 119 runs more than second place, Matthew de Villiers, leading wicket taker.
Yeah, look, I think
leading run scorer.
Yes. To conclude Matthew de Villiers' stats, strike rate of 141, 5 50s in 8 innings. He hit the most boundaries at 54s, and then he also hit 5 sixes. Honorable mentions: Rassie van der Dussen. He was second in the run scoring charts, 275, and a strike rate of 143, an average of 55. Leon Botha of Boland, 256 at an average of 42 and a strike rate of 121. Daniel Smith, 228, with the highest score of the tournament, well, a century in the tournament, one of the 2 centuries, 103 not out at a strike rate of 176. From a bowling perspective, you went Clinton and Imran. Ethan Bosch, 13 wickets at economy rate of 7.83, average of 14. Keith Dudgeon, average of 14, economy of 8.27 with 13 wickets. And Josh Bray at the Western Province leg spinner, 11 wickets at an economy rate of 7 at an average of 19. Imran Manak's numbers are sensational, but the gap and the consistency between what Matthew de Villiers did and the rest of the batters, he is, for me, my pick of CSA T20 Player of the Year, T20 Challenge Player of the Year, largely because of the consistency, those 550s in the tournament at times when they needed them. And he was their MVP and the MVP of the tournament. So for me, it goes to Matthew de Villiers.
Yeah, has to go to Matthew. It's easy for me to sit here and say I knew he was going to be a first-class cricketer. I knew that when he did eventually get his chance, he was going to show his class. It's easy for me to say that because I've been watching him for 3 years before that. But to go out and do it, in the fashion that he has, in a format that actually I don't think is his best. I mean, he's very good at it, but I don't think it's even his best format. Shows the class of the man. The only blemish for him is that 96 that he made against Poland. That's the only blemish. He would love to have had 100, and he deserved that 100. But otherwise, he was absolutely exceptional. Class above.
Yeah, yes, he was a class above the rest. That brings us to the end of our domestic awards. Now let's move on to the SA Women Awards. We want to start with the T20 Player of the Year. The South African women only played 6 T20s this year, 3 against the West Indies, 3 against Ireland. And so, yeah, Tim, who are the nominees?
I don't have nominees for this. I am very sorry.
Okay, I've got the nominees. Don't worry, Tim.
Fine.
I've got you.
There we go.
Cool. In the women's T20Is, the nominees are, we'll start with Nonkululeko Mlaba. She played 5 matches, took 6 wickets at an average of 16, an economy of 5.44. From a back to then it is Laura Volpart. She scored 1,000. No, that's ODIs. She's got 190 runs with a high score of 115 in the 5 innings at an average of 47 and a strike rate of 158. Tasman Brits, 132 runs, a strike rate of 122 and an average of 66. Sune Lees playing 3 matches, 131, an average of 43, a strike rate of 152. But also Sune the bowler took 5 wickets, the second highest wicket taker for South Africa this year, at an average of 13 and an economy of 6. And so, Tim, I look to you. Out of those 3 or 4, who is your T20 International Player of the Year?
I'm gonna give it to Lefty. I think Lefty did it. I think Lefty deserves recognition. It might be slightly off-field. I actually thought maybe Laura would have slightly better numbers. I mean, those numbers are really good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but of her very high standard, I thought they would have been slightly better. I'm gonna give it a Lefty. I'm gonna go there.
So I'm gonna go controversial. Lefty, you know I love you. You know you're my crush. But I can't give this to you. I think 2025 and T20s. Yes, you were the leading wicket taker, but 6 wickets in 5 innings in 5 games just doesn't do it for me. However, there's a certain lady who I've questioned her place in the side many years, but she's pulled through in the T20s. Sune Lees is my pick. 5 wickets, an average of 13, an economy of 6, in a year where she became an off spinner. Funny enough, but she also scored 131 runs with the bat, a high score of 81 and an average of 43 and a strike rate of 152. And we know strike rate's important in T20. So for me, playing 2 less games than Laura, I am going with Sune. Her all-round ability, which is what I've always been crying for, Sune bowling as well, wins this one for me. So yeah, that's the SA T20 International Women's Players of the Year. Tim went Lefty. I went with Sune. So congratulations to them. Sune and Lefty, we want more of this. Actually, a lot more. But Sune, we want a whole lot more of this. But yeah, it's been a great year for you in the T20 side. Okay, now moving on to the one-day Player of the Year. Tim, the nominees.
I'm gonna have to hold it on to you again, I'm afraid.
Okay, so we have you've got Sune Lees, 19 matches, 18 innings, 601 runs at an average of 40 and a strike rate of 85. Tasman Brits at 937 runs with a high score of 171 not out, an average of 52, and a strike rate of 92. Then you have Laura Wolfart, 1,174 runs with a high score of 169 and at a strike rate at an average of 61 and a strike rate of 92. You also have Nonkululeko Mlaba, 19 matches, 19 innings with 35 wickets at an average of 20.54, an economy of 4.76. You've also got Nadine de Klerk. She took 19 wickets at an average of 28, an economy of 5.41. And she also scored 345 runs at an average of 34.5 and a strike rate of 120. Remember those important runs she scored at the World Cup to get us over the line. Tim, who do you choose as the SA Women's ODI Player of the Year?
Yeah, I'm going to go conventional. This was an easy one for me. It's got to be Laura, isn't it? It's got to be Laura. With the numbers that she's put down. And am I right in thinking that she is number one in the world currently? There we go.
That is correct. So, yes. So, as I looked at these numbers, I was looking at Tasman's numbers and I was like, but didn't Tasman score 5 hundreds in a row or 5 half centuries in a row? But she's so far behind Laura by over close to 200 runs, actually. Actually over 200 by 230 runs. That shows you the dominance that Laura's had, and they've both batted in the same number of innings. That kind of tells you the class of Laura. The other mention is Lefty. I would have gone with Lefty. Her numbers are elite. And like I've always said, when you look at it, right, Lefty could also put up a hand as an MVP, 35 wickets at an average of 20, an economy rate of 4.76. Had that average been 18 or below, I'd have gone with Lefty, but it's sitting at 20. But Lefty's just been amazing. She takes a wicket every 25 balls. She's been so good. But this was the year where Laura shut me up when I said she's not the MVP. The way this team goes is that they struggle to bowl teams out in ODIs and therefore require somebody with the bat to ensure the win. And Laura has done that time and time again for this team. In the year when Marizanne looked off color a little bit and wasn't giving you those performances, Laura stepped up. And I can safely say she's the MVP. She's the best player in the world, and she really does deserve it. Lefty, unfortunately, so close, but you can't get it. But you must not take away that this year has been a stellar year for you in ODI colors. And yeah, congratulations to Laura, because wow, what a year. What a year in all of it. So we are done there with the Women's Awards. The the Proteas Women's Awards. Now we're going to go to the Proteas Men's Awards, and we're going to start with the one that we actually call we need to prepare for the World Cup next year. Tim, who is the Proteas Men's T20 International Player of the Year? Oh, nominees, sorry.
So let me just. I thought I had done this properly, but I haven't. So I've got my winner, but let me just try to work.
Okay, no, that's fine, Tim. Tim, I've got the nominees. Don't worry. Okay. So from a nominations perspective, we have Corbin Bosch with the ball, 20 wickets at an average of 17, an economy of 7.95. He also contributed with the bat, scoring 106 runs in 11 innings with an average of 15 and a strike rate of 110. The next nominee is Devil Brevis, who scored 464 runs with a high score of 125 not out at an average of 30 and a strike rate of 176 as well. Lungingiti, 14 wickets this year at an average of 24 and an economy rate of 7.46. Honorable mentions, Gwena Mapaka played 7 innings, 12 wickets, at an average of 20 and 9.52. As I lose my screen, I don't know what's going on now. But Tim, from a what is it? A T20 International Player of the Year. Who is your winner?
For me, it's the guy that could really, I think, could really win us the World Cup. I know that things have slightly fallen off as the year has gone on, but he started off, as we know, he started off so well. But I think he could really be the difference. We know that we are struggling in that middle order for somebody to take over from Miller because Miller's powers are definitely waning, and that he's definitely coming to the end. For me, it's Brevis. I think his impact again. I think Brevis, for me, the way he's gone about it, it's the one format where I feel very comfortable with him in it. I think he can play all three, but this format this year in the T20s, where I'm thinking, you've done what I needed you to do. You've cemented your place. Just do it in the World Cup now.
So here's his full stats, and my winner is Devil Brevis. He's had a sensational 2025. Traveled around the world with the Proteas. We played in India, we played in Pakistan, we played in England and Australia, and he stepped up across all of those. He scored 464 runs in 17 innings. The next best batter is Reza Hendricks on 233 runs at 12 innings. So for 5 innings, Devil Brevis beats Reza by 231 runs. He has the highest average of any Protea in this calendar year at 30.93. He has, faced the most balls, but he has a strike rate of 176, which is the most of anybody in this calendar year. The next best is Quinton de Kock at 168.46. Remember him, he's back. That should give you some smiles. He's the only one in the year to score 100. He's also scored 100 and a 50, which is also the second highest, equal to Quinton, who scored 2 scores above 50 in the calendar year. He has hit the most 4s at 27 and the most 6s at 39. It is truly incredible. If you think about the 6 gap, the next best 6 hitter in this team is Aiden Markram on 12. The next best 4 hitter in this team with 9 less innings is Quinton de Kock on 20. So Quinton actually could have gotten this, and that's an honorable mention for him, because I think Quinton started off really well in the South African T20I side, and I think we have it. But it's all Devil Brevis. He has come as advertised, and congratulations to him. He is the SA T20 International Player of the Year, or CSA Cricket Podcast, SA Cricket Podcast T20 International Player of the Year. Now moving on to the ODIs, and we have the nominees. Just give me a moment. I'll get that for you. So South Africa played this year in just getting you the matches. Played in the Champions Trophy. They also played a tri-series between New Zealand and Pakistan before the Champions Trophy. Then they went on tours to Australia, to England, to Pakistan, and to India. And so the nominees are, we need a bit of a drum roll, but we'll get that. Lungi Ngidi, 19 wickets on 13 matches at an average of 32, economy of 6.31. Keshav Maharaj, 12 innings, 18 wickets at an average of 32 as well, an economy rate of 5.25. Then you have Aiden Markram, 420 runs in 11 innings at an average of 42 and a strike rate of 106. And Matthew Bretsky, 706 runs in 12 innings at an average of 64 and a strike rate of 96. Tim, this is probably going to be the easiest one of the day. You can't tell me anybody else's name but Matthew Bretsky. Surely.
No. It's Matthew. It's 100% Matthew. He has really... I know how much he's wanted this. I know how much he's wanted to be not just a a guy, a fringe player. He doesn't want to just be a fringe player. He's now at the age where he wants to be a regular. He wants to play every game. And talking about Purvis finding his format, finding his space, this is Purvis' space. Purvis' target needs to be 2027, where he dominates.
Yes, Bretsky, not Purvis. I know they start with a BR, but yeah.
I'm doing very well.
But Matthew Bretsky, the only thing about this year is why the hell did he not play in the Champions Trophy? That for me is the biggest travesty and discussion point that we should have actually had by the time of the Champions Trophy, because these numbers, because he scored that 150 in the tri series against New Zealand or Pakistan, but he scored it there and he still couldn't make the starting 6 batters in the Champions Trophy. That is a dereliction of duty tantamount to any of the biggest dereliction of duties you've ever done. It's effectively like the abdication of Prince Edward when King George took over the throne and he was the elder brother and he was like, I want an American divorcee. I don't want this crown. That's how big this thing was. This is huge. Like a corruption probe should be done just on that, on the fact that he was left out. He's been so good in 50 over cricket, and it's a surprise he also didn't get a call up in the test side. It's coming, but what a year for Matthew Bretsky. I am very impressed. He is one of the good batters in South African cricket, putting their hands up, and I think in 2027, if he continues this, he'll be the anchor to a World Cup winning side. And yeah, I just hope it continues in 2026 and definitely continues in 2027. Because if we're having the show this time in 2027 and we've won the World Cup, best believe Matthew Bretsky is a nominee, if not a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And as I said before, this is what he's wanted. He's wanted to be in the reckoning. Just a notable mention on that. All of those scores of 50 and 150 are all away from home. They're all in very difficult places where South Africans tend to struggle in, whether it's Pakistan, whether it's wherever it's been. So it's hugely impressive.
Yeah. Some honorable mentions. Temba Bavuma scored 404 runs at an average of 14, a strike rate of 83. He scored 4 half-century scores. Aiden Markham also scored 4 half-century scores. Matthew Bretsky scored 7 in his 12 innings. Quinton de Kock with half the innings. This is how, when Shukri said Quinton's an enigma, the proof is in the numbers. Forget about what you see on screen, because everyone focuses on Quinton's noughts and low scores. But listen to this. 353 runs in 6 innings. A high score of 123 not out, which is the highest second highest, because Matthew scored 150 in the calendar year. He has an average of 70.6 and a strike rate of 97. He has had 200s and 250s in that time. Quinton de Kock, he's enjoying his life. Really, really much so. Really, really enjoying his time in the Proteas. But that's an honorable mention in the one-day side. And then Nandre Berger, 9 innings at 16 wickets, an average of 27 with an economy of 6.44. We need him a lot fitter for the side in order for us to do really, really well. But congratulations to Matthew Bretsky. And this ODI side is shaping up really nicely, Tim. If you look at the names at the top of the order, I know Matthew went above everyone by 230 runs, but the names at the top of the order, at the top of that list, it's Aiden, it's Temba, it's Matthew, and it's Quinton. That's your top 4 in the ODIs. Yeah. That should be your top 4 going forward. And I think it's this year it's made it very easy for Shukri. 5 and 6, you can figure out what you want to do, but that's the top 4. It's going to be hard for people to break in there. Okay, let's move on to the final awards, which I think Tim thinks is the greatest awards of them all. We will discuss who we think is SA Cricketer and SA Women's Cricketer of the Year. But, okay. The Test Player of the Year.
was so hard, by the way. So hard.
It was so hard. Don't lie, Tim. It wasn't hard. It was not hard. And I will tell you why. And I'm going to make these nominees. So remember, South Africa played one test against Pakistan this year. Then they went on to play Australia at Lords. They played 2 tests against Zimbabwe. They also played 2 tests against Pakistan and 2 tests against India. So out of a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 tests this year, that's how many games they have played. That means the nominees are Vian Mulder, having scored 669 runs, a high score of 367, an average of 66, and a strike rate of 73, 200s this year. Ryan Rickleton, 540 runs, a high score of 259, the only double century we've seen in the last decade, an average of 54, a strike rate of 59. Aiden Markram, 366 runs at an average of 33 and a strike rate of 55. And then Simon Harmer, 30 wickets in 4 matches and 8 innings at an economy rate of 2.5 and an average of 14. Keshav Maharaj in 6 games and 12 innings, 25 wickets at an average of 25 and an economy rate of 3. And Marco Jansen, 19 wickets at an average of 22, including his batting records of 180 at an average of 30 and a strike rate of 93 with 250s in this calendar year. Tim, honorable mentions before we go. Corbin Bosch scoring 164 runs at an average of 54 with a maiden century, as well as 11 wickets this year. Mutusami and Kagiso Rabada on 19 wickets this year. Mutusami on 16 wickets, as well as Themba Bavuma, 310 runs in 7 innings at an average of 51 and a strike rate of 47, 300s in that period. Tim, who is your Protea men's test player of 2025?
Let me just say I'm rather shocked that Themba Bavuma was an honourable nominee.
Do you want him in? Do you want him in the nominations? So here's the thing: Themba's played 7 innings and scored 310 runs and average of 51. Let's add Themba as a nominee. I do apologize, Nkokeli. I was just looking at the stats. I didn't find you there at the top, but yeah, Themba Bavuma as a nominee, 310 runs at an average of 51 with 1 century and 2 50s and a strike rate of 47.
The reason I say that is, for me, it's only 2 options. There are only 2 options for me. It's either Themba Bavuma, who won the World Test Championship final, with us, took us to an ICC trophy, or Simon Harmer, who won, helped us win in India for the first time in 25 years. Which is more important? You know me. I want to go with Simon. I really do want to go with Simon. But I have to go with World Test Championship final, 55 not out, taking us over the line.
India series as well.
Leadership skills, all that stuff. Everything in one. It's got to be for me. It's got to be Themba. But and I'm genuinely sorry for Simon, because Simon was phenomenal at the back end of the year, in 2 seismic tours.
Okay, so yeah, look, I think the year's been riddled for Themba with injuries, but if you look at it, right, he scored 106 against Pakistan to start off the year. He scored 66 at Lords in that second innings to help us win the World Test Championship. 55 not out at Eden Gardens, which was a very important 55 on the pitch that nobody could play on, including India itself. And he scored 41 in that first innings in Guwahati. I'm leaning towards you, but let me make a case for Simon. And this is the reason why I want to make a case for Simon, because winning the World Test Championship, which is one game and was really, really important to us, is important, but it cannot take away what Simon did on 2 tours that will lead us to another World Test Championship final. And his contributions cannot be taken away, because we're not going to see Simon in the Proteas colors until, heck, I don't think we're going to see him again. We've got a tour to Bangladesh, probably that. But let me make to Sri Lanka, but let me make a case here. Simon Harmer played 4 matches. Pakistan, 4 test matches, right? In Pakistan and in India. South Africa have not won in Pakistan or India in decades, in years. And this is what he did. He helped us get a draw in Pakistan, which is so crucial for us in the World Test Championship. And he also helped us get a Test series win in India, the first time in God knows how long. Nobody wins in India. Ask the Australian team, ask the English team. Nobody wins in India, except for us in New Zealand, but that's another thing. And this is the reason why Simon should get it. He outclassed our best player in the format in this year, which was Keshav Maharaj. He outshone him. Yes, Keshav wasn't there in Pakistan, but here we go. There's no way you can say no to 30 wickets at an average of 14, an economy of 2.5. I see what Timber's done, but this is as though he was batting. If you had to equate this to a batsman, that's about an average of over 60. For me, we can't overlook what Simon did. Symbolism says Timber, right? But Timber needed to play more games. That's my only cry, which is why I didn't include him. And even in the nominees, I wouldn't pick him. Congratulations, Timber, for winning us the World Test Championship. And I'm nominating you for SA Men's Player of the Year, because that takes into everything else outside of all of that. But for me, Simon Harmer, SA Men's Test Player of the Year. And if he's not SA Men's Test Player of the Year in March, I am going to burn that theater down. Because you can't go through these numbers and be breaking history, making records in India, in Pakistan, and then we're going to sit and say, nah, he doesn't deserve to win it. And then here's another thing I want to talk about. Vian and Ryan. Vian and Ryan, after you scored your gargantuan numbers, you fell off a cliff. You may have the most runs this year in Test match cricket, but you don't deserve to even be nominated. I put you in there just because I was like, actually, they deserve to be there, because, you know, scoring those runs is still a massive feat. Vian, had you scored that 400, my boy, you would have been remembered forever. Now look, you're dropped from the Test team. You're nowhere near this Test side. Well, you are. You're a squad player, right? But for me, I see your numbers. I take out Zimbabwe. Ryan, I included Pakistan, but after Pakistan, you did nothing. So that's the only other thing. But Simon is my guy. If you want to pick Timber, we can pick Timber. Congratulations to Timber and Simon. Timber had a phenomenal year. Just those injuries, man.
Yeah. No, so I was discussing this with myself earlier today, and I think you're right. I think you're right. I did go. You're right. I went symbolism trophy. I didn't go into it. Is for what he did on an individual performance level, to come back from the wilderness and do everything and to do those numbers. And as you rightly say, not outbowled Maharaj, he outbowled India. He outbowled the entire nation of India by a country mile in their own
conditions. You taught them how to bowl.
Yeah. No, he deserves it. He deserves it.
Sure. Okay, Tim. Now that brings us to the end of our show. Tim, so what's your surprising performance of the year, or surprising moment of the year?
This was an interesting one. I've got two, if I'm allowed to.
Yeah, you can. You are allowed to.
because we did have. I should have actually said would have split it into men's and women's, but they're both surprises for me. If you said to me the 1st of January that the end of the year, Dane van Niekerk and Quentin de Kock are coming back, I would have said, no. No, not possible. No ways. For just in the way that they left, and the atmosphere that was left behind, I just did not see that happening. And particularly what Shukri had created there, I thought, why did you want to bring somebody back who doesn't want to be there? At that time, he didn't. He's publicly said it. I'd had enough. I didn't see it. I didn't see it, and I thought that the women's side had moved on from those sorts of players that we've had before, that were Shipman and Darnay's and Mignon's. I thought we moved on from that. But both have worked. Both have worked. Both have been masterstrokes. Both have been reintegrated into the side, and both have changed the way that they see things. They haven't come in and said, "No, this is my team." They've come in and said, "Well, okay, this is the coach's team," and that's a huge credit to both coaches to integrate them both in. For me, they have to be. I really did not see either of them actually coming back at all.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think for me, my most surprising moment, and it's a good surprise, I think, for me, that 100 from Aiden Markram at Lords will go down as probably the greatest 100 we've ever seen in South African history. I think for me that is it. Like I will never. I sat there, like that test match was them having to grind it out, having to learn, and Aiden, the way he batted in that game, he really applied himself, and in ways we always wanted him to apply himself in that manner, right? Be watchful, place a value on your wicket, don't go too hard. Yes, you want to put pressure on them, but pick your moments. And he did that really well. He batted really well with Timber, and that partnership in the sunshine on that Friday afternoon at Lords in day 3 was probably one of the best moments of batting I've seen from the two of them. And it kind of solidified two things for me, that no matter how much hate everyone else has for Timber, that team trusts him so much that even the prince that was promised, which is Aiden, loves to bat with him. Right, even though obviously Vian just stunk up the joint a little bit there, but that application, that second innings from the South African team was just amazing. And even in the next day, in that glorious sunshine, as we marched on to victory, Aiden made sure. And for me, there's nothing more than that. And that was surprising, because if you asked me who was going to win us the World Test Championship, he wouldn't be on. He was like number 4 on my list. I'd have actually picked Rix before him because Rix was on form, and maybe Temba and Kagiso above him, but he really came through. And yeah, so for me, that was it, over and above the returnees, because this year is a year of the return. And so that was it. The shocking moment of the year, Tim?
I can't believe I don't have this. I mean, I really should have this in my mind. I've got everything written down there except for that.
Now, there's only one shocking moment this year, Tim. Don't worry.
No, I was going to say that this was such a good year. Such a good year.
No, so there's two that comes to mind, right? It's the Jekyll and Mr. Hyde T20 performances. We win one game, we lose the other one badly, getting bowled out like we don't know how to play cricket. But the one that's the most shocking one was that declaration in Zimbabwe, when this man is on 367 and he stands up there and says, nah, I've had enough of batting. I'm not going to get to 400. Let the legends have their records, as though we're disrespecting Zimbabwe. Now look where he is. Look where he is. He's done well. He's going runs for JSK. But like I sat there going, nah, guys. In cricket is so fickle. Ask Ryan Rickleton. Ryan started the year in all three formats. Dominated SA20, dominated Pakistan, was the kid that they wanted. At the end of the year, he's nowhere to be seen. Luandre Pretorius, same thing. Nowhere to be seen. Luandre even scored a test century. Nowhere to be seen. Yet, we disrespect mother cricket like that. When you're on your way to doing something that nobody's ever done, and you declare and you walk away and you're like, I've had enough of batting. Now look, it's the same karma that's hitting England right now. Yes, I know they won a test match, first time in God knows how long. Fine, I get it. But it's the same karma. If you disrespect the game of cricket, it will disrespect you. And England know that because they lost the Ashes in 11 days. And so for me, that's my most shocking moment of 2025.
If you go back to the archives, it didn't exercise me in the same way. It really didn't. I know it exercised a lot of people, but it really didn't hit home with me. And look, I'm never going to make 367 not out in any form of cricket. But I'll happily say I'd like to think I would do exactly the same. I'm not going to come up with this tripe about the legends nonsense, because that's just something that came to his head. So I've got to say something. And the remotely non-controversial, but it actually turned out to be really controversial. I would just go, you know what? So what? It does not exercise me in any way, shape, or form. All I will say is, barring one or two things, the fact that we've gone 12 months without a bombshell of scandal at Cricket South Africa is quite an achievement.
Is that the shock of the year for you?
It is. It really is. It really is. That Cricket South Africa, dirty linen, is not at the front pages of the newspapers, online media. That, for me, is the shock of the year. It's a nice shock. It's a happy shock. And long may it continue.
Nah, I'm just mad that Vian denied me the opportunity to call him Mr. 400, and for him in his JSK kit to have 400 on his back. But hey, we can have 367, but he doesn't want to do that either. He's still wearing number 13. But okay, that's just me. But look, as we recap before we announce the big awards winners today. Oh yeah, Tim, we forgot one before we go through it, before we recap. Coach of the year in the men, coach of the year in the women.
So men's is easy. It's Shukri. To galvanize the South African team, to create the atmosphere for us to thrive. We talk about the atmosphere of that McCallum has created, but it's not a winning atmosphere. It's an atmosphere of go out the trolley, get absolutely smashed, and have no responsibility, which is fantastic. But it doesn't create success. Shukri has created a happy environment, a successful environment. Yes, there are teething problems within the white ball setup, but they are teething problems and not major problems. Get us to the One Test Championship final, win it, bringing in new faces, that new faces accept responsibility, take responsibility. Everybody wants to play for him. It's a no-brainer for me. It really is a no-brainer. The women's could have been different. If Tanisha's team had won the World Cup, I would have given it to Tanisha. If the under-19 team had won the World Cup, I would have said Tanisha created a similar environment, a team of winners, the new generation of the women's game. I would have said, you know what, let's give it to Tanisha. But Mandla's got to get it. Mandla had a difficult job.
Yeah.
He had a very, very difficult job to take over a side that was on the downward spiral. They had a lot of questions asked. Individuals we have mentioned, people like Sino Luz, who were on a plateau. They were just cruising in a performance level with the Proteas. They're doing enough to stay in, but not doing enough of their potential to turn that around, to bring in somebody who previously was a problem within the team, had a brought an environment of clickiness, and Mindless turned that into an environment of inclusivity, taking us to the final of the World Cup. I mean, it would have been lovely to win it, of course, but it was a real challenge for him. It was a real challenge for him to turn it around, and I was one of his harshest critics, but he did it. He turned it around, and you can see the green shoots. You can see the direction he's taking. Often you can't see the direction of coach. You can see his direction. He deserves huge
look, I can't fight you on that. Look, Robbie P might be like, hey, you know, I've finally won with the Warriors. Russell Dominguez, like, I had a clean sweep last year, even though obviously they started badly again this year. On the women's side, Claire Blanche is like, hey, look at my Western Province side. And obviously Dinesha as well. But those two take the cake. They have really done incredible jobs with the senior national sides. And kudos to Enoch and Kwe for putting them in there. I think it was visionary, it was forward. I know you mentioned Brendan McCullum, but coaching is a cult. You need to get a group of 11 to 15 people to follow you, believe in your thing, and when it's going bad, it's going to go bad. It's going to, there'll be news cameras. There's going to be a final showdown. It's going to be wild, right? But when it's going good, it's going good. You're drinking the Kool-Aid. And right now, we're still drinking the Mandla and Shukri Kool-Aid. And long may that continue. Okay. SA Player of the Year. Men's and Women's Player of the Year. Tim, on the women's side, it's between Lefty and Laura. On the men's side, it is Themba, Simon, and potentially Aiden, because I think Aiden's covered a lot, even though he hasn't covered himself in glory. Oh, Keshav as well, because he's played across both and he's met. But who are you selecting on the women's side?
Yeah, it must get very boring constantly winning trophies. I wonder what it's like. We have a great team. This women's team is a good team, good players, and we do play as a team. There's absolutely no doubt about it. They do play as a team. But Laura is just on another planet. Yeah. She is just on another planet. She's on another surface. She's just in another universe. She's just too good.
As far as I'm concerned, Laura somehow is batting on the flattest wickets in the world while everyone sees demons. But yeah, the player of the year 2025. She's been incredible and more. She's the reason why we're in that World Cup final and we are competent in competing in that World Cup semi-final. And so yeah, I think she scored 100 in the final and the semi-final, which is wild and incredible. On the men's side, Tim, I'm using your thing, Themba Bavuma. He was solid in the ODIs, an average of 40, score over 400 runs, and then in the test matches he had an average of 51. And on top of that, he captained the side to test series win in India, and as well as the World Test Championship final. So for me, it has to be Themba. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. I think it does. Across all formats, leadership skills, ICC trophy. I do. I really, really do. I'm glad that I gave I was persuaded to give the test medal to Simon, because Simon definitely deserves something for the work he's done. At the second half of this year, it's been phenomenal. But overall, I think Timber has to get it. I think for the reasons I tried to outline earlier, we're gonna miss him when he goes. Long may he stay, but we are gonna miss him when he goes. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, we will, and we need to find more. Look, it would have been tough to give Simon like most improved because that's not a most improved award. We've always known he had this. He also can't give him newcomer because newcomer, he's been in this, he was in and out of the side. So yeah, but look, yeah, incredible, and as like it's been a great year, and congratulations to everyone who's had a great year and received awards today. But that brings us to the end of our show. Remember, you can follow us on YouTube. If you're still watching now, you can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also follow us at Apple Podcasts and Spotify at South African Cricket Podcast. You can also find us on X at SA Cricket Pod, and also you can buy some coffee at buymeacoffee.com/SA Cricket Pod. QR codes are galore for you to find whichever way is easiest for you. Let us know what you think, who you would give these awards to. Do you agree with us? Do you not agree with us as we close off the year? But finally, we wish everyone a blessed New Year's. All the best for 2026. May your dreams come true and everything that you aspire to do. We'll be back in the new year, starting again with the latest cricket news, most likely SA20 and anything else that leads us to that West Indies series. I'm sure the squads will be out by the time we are back in the new year. But for myself, Tim, it's goodbye, happy new year, and lesale kakagis.